So Sue, I understand you've had a very good morning.
Yes, I certainly have.
So let's have a look at some of your prize winners.
Yes, here this is the class it is one bonsai fig any style. I got a third for that one, which is really surprising. And the one beside it is also one fig any other style, any bonsai fig. I got a second for that one. That takes 2 people to carry it. I'm not quite strong enough to lift that one alone. It's very, very large, and it came out of a drain. It was dug out of a drain, and all it was a stump. And it's taken me probably 12 years to grow all these branches and all the top of it. So you can do it. That saves time. But if that had been grown in a pot all its life, you could say that's 100 years old, but it's not. It's probably younger than the one beside it, which is very, very small. So size doesn't matter in bonsai. It's not the size that makes it old, it's the look of it that makes it old.
Obvious question, why are they so small?
A bonsai is kept small by cutting the top, and it's kept healthy by pruning the roots. Size doesn't indicate age, so it's the size you want to keep it. And if you get older, of course, things get heavier and less manageable. So if you've got a big bonsai, what the older growers do, they just simply chop them down half size and grow them into a smaller tree. It doesn't hurt the tree, it just saves your back. This little semi-cascade here, that's a third prize, and that class is one bonsai cascade or semi-cascade, and that's quite a particular style. With a semi-cascade, the branches come out of the pot, but they don't really hang below the level of the pot, and with a full cascade, like the one on the end, which I got a first for, isn't that lucky? That cascade goes all the way down the level of the pot. So that's the difference between semi-cascade and full cascade. This one here is a Japanese pine, Japanese black pine in bonsai in Japan, where it really is considered the highest form of horticulture. This is considered the Rolls Royce of the evergreen trees to use for bonsai, the Japanese black pine. But the trick in this country is getting the needles short. In Japan they're very short because of their climate, but here they tend to be 3 times the length. So the secret is getting the needles short, and that is just tedious, many, many years of work, encouraging probably twice as many needles, half the length. My fascination is the horticultural side of it, but if you add the artistic side to it, then you meet a lot of more enthusiasts. I mean, if I sat at home like a weirdo just reading scientific journals about trees and that, I couldn't actually put into proof the facts I was learning. I learn a certain fact about tree root growth, I put it into action, and I can see the results. And the more and more research we do on them, the more interesting stuff's coming out from, as I call it, the men with microscopes. And thank God for them, because I can't afford a $10,000 scanning electron microscope. This tree comes from a hedge that was planted, documented planting in 1888 at a private school. And during the Second World War, the hedge was ploughed in because the school was rented by the Air Force, and they ploughed the hedge in to make a parade ground. And because it's privet and a noxious weed, some of it survived. So I dug it up in the late 60s, and all I had was a huge lump of wood. It had no roots on it or anything, and I grew it on because I really liked the twisted, where Mother Nature had done all that work. But that is so old, that privet genetically, that every year in winter the leaves go yellow, red, and they fall off. And none of my other privets do it. So I would imagine that's either first or generation from England, and its genetic code would be really, really old. It would be interesting to do a DNA test on it to see how they've changed to become such a pest. Bonsai isn't something that every day you're going out and trimming the things on. The day-to-day care of a bonsai is the correct watering. And when I tell people that you just have to learn how to water them properly, everyone goes, oh, I can water my garden. But what they've actually got here is a creature that no one ever thinks about watering, and that's a tree. But without correct watering at the correct time of day and correct nutrients when it's required, the tree won't flourish. If you get that right, the tree will flourish. If you can grow them first, then you can style them. So it's the growing of them really that should come first, and the styling second. This tree is a swamp cypress, or a taxodium. They live in the swamps in Florida, and they live permanently in water over there, and they throw up little elbows so they can breathe. In bonsai, they're really, really good, because if you're a lazy bonsai artist, you can literally leave those standing in water all the time and you won't hurt them, and it's one of the very few varieties you can do that to. Normally if you stand a tree in water, you'll rot the roots out. I'm a very impatient person. If I was patient, I would have one tree. I'm very impatient, so I have a lot of trees. The trees have had 260 million years to get their DNA and genetic code right, and they are experts. If we could copy photosynthesis, we wouldn't have a problem, but we can't yet. This is a little Bacchia that was bought 3 or 4 years ago, and I've just worked it up since then. They're difficult because once you take them out of the ground and grow them in a pot, they can be tricky. They do tend to sulk for about 3 years before they realise that they're living in a motel with room service and everything turned on for them.
So is this a pastime that you can see yourself doing the remainder of your life?
Oh yes, I'm going to live for another 300 years because I want to see what my trees are like in 300 years' time.
So Sue, I understand you've had a very good morning.
Yes, I certainly have.